Hey, you guys. Good morning. It's MJ from Alta Love. How are you? I'm pretty late to the past this morning, that's for sure. But that's because I actually like just being straight up. I spent some lovely dedicated love time writing up a post for Instagram because yesterday I went to a vegan fair in Portishead with my friend who's doing the case study. So I'm super excited. Like sometimes this stuff aligns in a way like my highest intention intended it to be, and yet the way it all has like come to fruition, i.e., manifestation, I'm like, oh my god, because you can't control it, right? So, anywho, I'm really excited to have a proper like non-vegan to do a case study for this course. So he's going to be a vegan for 8 weeks and basically like share week to week, like, who I need meat, or be really like, I feel amazing. So he can give you some honest love vibrashe. Oh, hello, you cosmic Christy. How are you? So yeah, and you're just reminding me of like why I put big shift, and it's continuous, right? We know this. It's never ending. It's continuous. It's eternal. We just continue on and keep going, and yet there's a continual collective story that we're perpetuating, feeling, speaking into existence about a paradigm shift, a big shift. And increasingly in the coming weeks, months, and certainly over these next couple of years, we're going to be really see the physical manifestation of these radical shifts. So our economies are going to change, our inherent education systems and business practices, and all of that is going to begin the actual earthly manifested shape shifting that's been happening from within the self, from within the heart of humanity for ages. Ultimately, this part of the disparity, conflict, and fear of darkness over the ages is actually what's been illuminating the human heart. Oh, see? So thank you. This is the stuff that I just hear intuitively. And there we have like thank you, Cosmic Christie. We have a affirmative, actual scientific interpretation and or awareness of like the shift of the fact that it's happening on every level ultimately, right? As in it's not just like a little bitty shift. It's a big shift. It's a tangible, visceral, obvious, like, oh hi, new people, oh hi, more money, oh hi, like more engagement. Even here for me in Alta Love TV, it's like having people to engage with, sharing with you guys whatever time we go live is a big part of the manifestation of the shifted reality that we've been intending, that we've been working with and working through. uh, well, you could say since the dawn of our existence, or you could just say for the however long you've been working on your own conscious creatorship, in service to the whole. Ultimately, is where we align and meet on this co-creative journey, and resonate because of the projections that we're feeling. Thank you. 4.5 billion years. I'll take that. So there were a couple things pertaining to an email I got, and that's, when it comes to like clarity and like advice and stuff, I would say, one, your own external reality is always going to be teaching you and showing you and guiding you if you're open to learn and be present and be vulnerable with what's going on in your reality and owning the creatorship of your totality. And then the other one was a comment about, I think it was a comment on yesterday's video or something from Andrew about like, make a series about men and women coming together and working together. Andrew, it is happening. Like, and I think what we often see is the darkest before the dawn. And depending on what areas of our lives we've been working on over these last, one of the biggest transits happening right now is the Uranus. So we had a laugh about Uranus yesterday. So Uranus is finally, so after dipping into Taurus, I think last year sometime, and then going back into Aries, we're in the final degrees of Aries. So a lot of us, depending on what areas we've been working on, if we've been transforming our career or if we've been get your anus out of my, yeah. If it's like this, it's like I'm an Aries sun, and it's felt just absolutely relentless, and I'm Capricorn rising. So Uranus has really been shape shifting. Like, I've moved a bunch of times. I've dissolved a whole bunch of kind of life path journey stuff as far as the career goes, and now at these final degrees of Uranus, of Aries and Uranus, it's like, hey roots, I love you guys. So those final degrees, it's like we're all like, oh God, like, just give me a break. It's just exhausting, or like hands up, just surrendering. I can't do it anymore. And hence this idea of the big shift of and this is what I'm getting intuitively, guys. Like, I really, 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 really don't know. This is what being in this open kind of expectancy, anticipatory energy, which to me feels very adaptable. It feels very like light and buoyant, and innocently, sort of expectantly, like what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? And I think because so many of us have been through such fucking intensity, and emotionally speaking, and intensity, and we've healed abuse patterns and or shifted energy into the heart field, activated the heart in a way that we never imagined possible, and really owned and transformed a whole bunch of disparity and darkness and shame and guilt and so much stuff, that regardless of the unexpectancy of the shift, um and in fact, or I say regardless, and I'm totally surrendered to it, because there's almost some intuitive knowing it's going to be totally unexpected. It is nothing. The way everything's going to come in ain't not at all how I ever tried to project it or thought of it or anything, and yet it will be completely supported, right? Nice. Hey, John Beanie. Hi, Kurt Mill. How are you? Interesting. Inner child kept pure in the water. I res with that. And that connects actually to some of the intuitive visions, as far as nice one, Kurt. You'll dip in as and when, right? Um the water and the clarity of the water, and the it doesn't actually matter how deep as far as our like quantitative mind goes. It's more about uh it's like sitting in that depth of water in the void, and I would kind of relate that to the void, and then allowing this inner child, this innocence, this kind of awe and curiosity to guide us and to unfold. And yet there's still what I talk about, the residue these last few weeks, even, I think, because there was like, hi, new year, wait, and then suddenly it's like boom boom, back to reality, and like still dealing with the residue, which I call is like that, again, the past programming and or simply the programming. I like to call it density, just to make it just like cross the board. It's a icky feeling, or we're rising up. Yeah. Dripping in residue, right? And so we're like, it's like wading through the tar. It's like kind of moving through. We might be feeling really tired. We might be feeling really like, I can't go on anymore. Oh, nice. So this is like the kind of, oh, and this is what I've been getting as well, Cosmic Christie, around that, is that you reap what you sow. And I genuinely a lot have, it's like there's a whole bunch that we don't see, right? And a lot of this karmic title shifting is like clearing all this karma, owning our shit, rising up. But most of us, it's like having this compassion and kindness throughout our lives. We've been reaping the benefit of what's coming into us our entire existence. We've been bearers of the light for for the entirety of this earthly story that we're telling. And so we're bringing this sort of cosmic unfolding that is so beyond the limited construct of what we've been veiled to believe in our human form. And yet, as we're here and sharing and unlocking and activating, we're like remembering all of this infinite intelligence, hence having the awareness of, and all of us having a kind of a primary function in the shift. One, because we've created the primary relationship, i.e., we've healed the self. We've we've turned the attention inward to heal and reclaim the sovereignty from within, the true creatorship, the true love, the essence, right? And yet we're here now as we share it. Thank you, Cosmic Christie. But this is so, we're all one, right? We're all in our function. We all are reflecting and shape shifting it back to one another. And then we connect it to the heart field. And now all of us connecting here are vibrating a certain heart resonance, which is again bombarding more light into our fields. And then we continue to reflect it back to ourselves. So, hey, Karen. Ooh, 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 ooh. I love all of you. Sometimes I get little videos for people that make me extra juicy and flow fun. Okay, so I'm gonna share with you guys. Yesterday, I serendipitously, but just by beautiful, miraculous life. So I'm doing the case study for Vegan Love, and I went to. So I got this. And like literally, my mouth is watering. We don't have any left over. I ate it all, but my mouth is watering just thinking of the glorious vegan sweets. And I straight up, like, if you don't eat sugar, you're not going to eat this food. But what's really nice about the vegan community is that they're pretty switched on. So like most of them are endeavoring low waste, if not zero waste, and a lot of them endeavor the sugar-free, the gluten-free. But just with the evolution of the vegan stuff, like, my God, like these cakes and these cookies, and you're just like, whoa, so good. And again, my friend who's doing the case study, he prefers it. He was like, well, vegan sweets, like, they feel better, they feel lighter, because even with the dairy and some of the products that you might use in just your standard cake or whatever, it's can be pretty heavy, right? For sugar. Yeah. What's another one? So coconut sugar, maple syrup. People sometimes use agave. Uh, thank you, Kurt. It's funny you should say, because I've got some. Well, actually, no, I've got coconut flour, but I'm using up the rest of my brown sugar because the vegan people, we don't typically do honey. What's the other one I use? Dates. So like I'll put whole dates, or I'll like melt the dates in like some water or some oil, and I'll make like a sweet oil just from the dates, right? And like apples, straight up, right? Like apples are super sweet. So if you put a couple chunks of apple in like a smoothie, then it will sweeten up the smoothie as well. Yeah, and dates, and then more and more nowadays, when we can get like the dried strawberries, or the dried what other ones are really good? The dried like mango pieces and the dried pineapple, like straight up. I'm like, this is nature's candy. Like you can eat that. And it's funny as I say this, not that I'm like into nutritional stuff at all. And I'm not into like dictating. It's because we're all so unique. You gotta kind of just really tune in and listen. But it was actually after my 24-hour travel stint from Bali back to the UK, and I was just in one of those like kind of numbed out, like I just needed to get from Gatwick. I needed to get from the London airport to back to Devon. But you can imagine I was pretty like jet lagged and just a bit like, ugh. So I do and of course, really what my body's asking for is one, sleep, and then two, probably like green juice or something really clean and really pure. But I default into getting a bag of sugar. So I want that quick fix, like just spike me up and get me home kind of thing. And I eat the whole bloody bag. And I go into Marks and Spencer's, they have a new vegan range of like sweets. And it reminded me just of how like intoxicatingly addictive they are. And I just wanted more. I kept wrapping up the bag and putting it away and then getting it out like 5 minutes later. I was just like, feed me, feed me. And yet, shortly after finishing the whole damn bag of sweets, I suddenly remembered why I don't consume refined sugar like that anymore. Because I started to feel like, obviously I could feel the coming up, and then I could start to feel the come down. And then the only time I would eat sweets like that, really, are in those situations, is like once or twice a year, right? Some consider it ethical. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Yeah. Oh, thanks. Thank you. Now you guys have shared with one another around honey. Yeah. John Beanie, some radical, I would put them in the bracket of the more radical vegans. Radical vegans don't do honey because the bees, we basically enslave the bees for their honey. But this is honestly where and this is part of why I feel guided to promote some of these courses in the way that I do, because I've been on the path for so long that I'm aware of, like, not we don't have to become radical. Like, you don't have to go swing into the radical side. You can just play around with it. You can taste it, try it out. And this is just for some of us that might be, in essence, sometimes more radical, right? I love the bees too. And, like, we do know that we want to take care of them. And I always think there is an exchange between the creature kingdom and, like, and us. So I don't, it's not like that is evil. Of course not. It's holistic and compassionate, right? But, like, with this kind of stuff, I do my best. So, like, I'll sometimes forget and get granola and then realize there's honey in it and think, oh shit. But I'm not gonna waste the granola, right? And I'll just eat it. Kurt Mill, totally, totally. I think a lot of people are waking up to this as well. Once I learned that, it was easier for me to be like, yeah, I'm good. Like, I'm good. I'll stick to my agave and or what you mentioned, like maple syrup. Maple syrup is like the bomb. It is so good and super, what's the word? Like, sustainable. Get it from the maple trees. I remember having a school trip back in the day growing up in Canada. We went to the woodland and we saw how the people actually tapped the maple tree and then took the maple syrup out. So it's a really, and it is super sweet, super crystallized. Plus with certain flavor, like maple syrup and pecan, or maple syrup and cinnamon with, some coconut. It's just, you can jazz it up and add a little bit of spice to make that sweet treat, like, as good as anything else without the come down, right? And that's the thing about the refined sugar that I forget. It does kind of, there is an edge of toxicity to too much refined sugar, too much. And I get it. And that's why I'm not, like, preachy about food. Like, yeah, I'll eat too much fatty chippy food and then I'll want to swing and just eat, like, veg for, like, the next 12 hours or something. John Beanie, I don't know. It's the sap, but I don't know what that means. And I gotta say, I know that there would be people who might be sensitive to the point of feeling the pain of the tree, and I don't know. We could explore that as far as, like, what is it? What is it that's coming out of a tree? My recollection is that it is what did I just say? It's a sap. It's something that, like, leaks out of the tree naturally around certain types of year. But I'm not 100% sure as I speak those words. Pardon me. Yeah, I do. Maple syrup is divine. And then somebody, was it Kurt? It is pricey, right? Like, comparatively to a bag of sugar. And, like, dude, in this country, it's super. It's like it's probably about 3 times the price point of agave or honey. Um, Not that that matters. Like, we don't worry about that. And again, I don't like to use the word expensive. I just, if it's more than what I want to spend, I'm just like, I think that's more than what I'd like to spend. But I really like, the set point I have for abundant flow is, like, I always have more than enough for what I want. I buy and do whatever I want. Hey Mike, how are you? Hey, let me find you. Let me find you, and then we'll close her off. Truth kindness, truth kindness. It's been a while, my friend. This is what's annoying. Is, like, so you can see I spent all this time posting something that won't it hasn't gone through. And now I'm aware that once it gets to that phase on Instagram, it's either going to go through or I just have to kind of cancel it, which means I just lost all the copy. I'm totally having a vent. I'm totally complaining to you guys. Oh, but you know what? I don't have Twitter on my phone. So this is the thing, truth kindness, like, just being straight up. I don't do Twitter. I I'm not on it like I would say that I might be on. Hi guys. Right now you can tell I'm totally on YouTube. Except I don't do that on Twitter. But I do want to look up my friend. Where did you say? Where is it again? Ah, what's your handle? I know, I'm gonna try to post it in here, y'all. 8 fry, which is free in German. You are limitless. Pardon me. Pardon me, you guys. So, 8 fry is posted. I'm gonna copy and paste it onto here, my friends. You may not be able to immediately create the physical manifestation, but you can always instantaneously actualize its emotional essence with a change in mindset. Totally. For sure. And then I'm seeing that I don't think it's going to let me post the whole thing. So I'm going to post up to there. There. You can change with an emotional mindset. And then, however, there is a deeper state of feeling in your soul. And if it is hurt, only being still and feeling it will heal it. Beautiful. That's so true. It's so true, right? Thank you, Kurt Mill. Kurt Mill, I'm gonna have to backtrack and look at that because I'm randomly like, I think that would be a relevant discussion point because that's one of those slightly annoying, like judgy vibes from meat eaters sometimes. I mean, like, plans reveal too, and you're like, it's not the same. Like you're just, this is me after 25 years of hearing these comments from people and just being like, okay, I just don't want to eat meat. Like, leave me alone. And they just have to keep being like, yeah, but why? Yeah, but plants don't feel stuff. Yeah, but and you're like, leave me alone. So that's what I would like to give vegans or newly endeavoring vegans is just as much research ammunition as possible so that they can like just either be present or say another fact that would just be like, okay, thank you for your opinion. This is why I do it. We're done. So energetically establishing that for people. And so that's a really nice topic because that's one of those things, those sort of argumentative matches. And so if you just say, yeah, but plants don't have a central nervous system, and so there's no way that they can experience pain in that way that we do and that sentient beings do, because we know that the cows cry, on the way to slaughter. We know that the mama cows are like wailing when their babies are taken away from them. Like that's been documented and proven. So it's like we're not seeing necessarily like the carrots going because they're having to leave their other carrots, right? So that's a fantastic, clear insight, right? Yeah, truth, kindness. I love that. Beautiful. And I so resonate with that. Obviously, like just be patient, but y'all, if we're manifesting our reality, it is there. It's in us. It's in our feelings. And what you said about that, the deeper, like you go deeper, if that core essence even deeper is healed, that's what we want to that's what we're here to heal, right? And that's the function of a lot of us in these communities. Our function as empaths is been the weird alien feeling most of our lives, is that we can feel that. We can feel the core wound in humanity. And that's what we're endeavoring to be present with, shine light onto, and say, hey, we're good, but let's do better. Let's rise out of this conflict. Let's rise out of this pain, right? Because and that's the integrity of the empathic community coming together in more harmony with one another. And then allowing ourselves to be the receivers, to be the love that we've been sharing and expressing for most of our lives, that has been denied, shunned, stamped out, persecuted, gossiped, judged, whatever. And now we just get to be the truth that we are. Nice. I don't doubt that. I think there would be a sensate awareness in trees, in plants, for sure. But that is to do with yeah, you guys might have to play and work that out. But like what I'm wanting to get to here is, yeah, that's it. That there's that pain is just part of life. Pain is a path to truth. And I sort of think some days in our light body activation modality, we don't need food. We won't need words necessarily. There will be a completely different, but that's possibly maybe not even on this planet, right? So it's more, and I would say this is the point about being in harmony with the self and everything that you consume, and everyone that you're around, is like whether or not it's a cow or a piece of broccoli, we should respect it. We should be grateful for it. We should be thankful for it, not just be like, well, whenever they're here for me. Well, whenever they're mine, I get to eat them. I get to kill them. It's like, or whatever, broccoli's mine. Just give it to me. Like it's the kind of attitude and the reverence with which we're engaging with whatever it is we're engaging with, right? Speaking last night about the news and how people are like, well, because I haven't watched mainstream media and for many years didn't even have a TV, and people, the first thing they would say is like, where's your TV? Like that would be the main thing. And then along the conversation, people just be like, well, how do you know what's going on in the world? And it's fascinating to me that people default into thinking that what they see on that TV screen is what's happening in the world. And yet they live in denial of what's actually happening in their world, what's actually happening in their presence, what's happening in their field. They're complete denial of, but the TV is what's going on in the world, right? So it's really interesting. Yeah. I agree with you. And we can sidestep that, right? Because then those are those sort of subtle, to each their own. We all have a different perception, right? It has more developed nervous system, and I can see that, and I can see the plant evolution for sure, and I can feel into it for sure. Hence, why we have compassion, why we have respect, why we don't just like rip it out the ground and be like, what? Just make more. It's the sense of like, could we not have more dignity and respect for ourselves? And then once we build up and create that, then we can share that, and like it's like it's just sharing the love and respect. And I think that's where a lot of us sort of res with, is that we don't necessarily fit into any mass group consciousness, and so we're like, oh gosh, but it's like there's like a deeper knowing. There's this deeper knowing of like, wait a minute, like none of that shit matters. We just need to show up to the best of our ability and be decent fucking human beings. And I'm pretty sure we know how to be decent. We just got distracted, and we perpetually make excuses for the distraction rather than going, hey, I'm way more powerful than those distractions. So I'm just going to step back. I'm going to chill. I'm going to, have a coffee, just be able to delicately work it out. Because I think everyone's that just speeds ahead, and I do the same thing, which is why I know it. But if we're all just constantly kind of proving ourselves, we're not really being effective, nor are we necessarily being compassionate, because we don't even realize how locked into certain patterns we are, right? True, too. Well, and this is something I would share at the health retreats with people when I was hosting, was that it is the whole complex. It's the whole, so a life force essence, right? That plants grow, they absorb nutrient from the sun, as do we, same thing. And then all that like photosynthesis. So like our body is transforming and using the molecular makeup and the molecular structure of whole food. Hence why we eat the whole broccoli. We don't and we talked about this, and I'm going to talk, this is one whole section in the vegan love course. I want to talk to people about the difference between veganism and plant-based, because veganism doesn't guarantee being a healthy human. You can still eat pretty much like pure processed kind of base food, you could say. You could still eat that, and I love that. I love comfort food. I love a chippy. I love and then at the same time, what I was saying earlier is that I can feel also that I'm like, I'll swing and just feel like, oh, I need green juice, I need a salad, I need a broccoli, I need to boil up broccoli and like eat that broccoli, because I can feel that my body needs the whole. It needs the green, it needs whatever micronutrients are in whole food, green food, ideally like local and organic. That food offers my body the nourishment it needs to process the junk better, right? Whereas if it's the accumulation of eating the junk food over and over and over the years that depletes our bodies of those like those vital resources that allow it to essentially digest and break down any experience that we live through, which includes anything we eat and consume, right? It's so true, Kurt. Like the interviews that I've had so far, I didn't even have to ask the businesses, the featured businesses when I was interviewing them. They naturally went into that. They're like, well, once I watched a few documentaries, but then I was like, what about my shampoo and what about my da 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 da? So like, it's amazing how the vegan movement is like crossing over and meeting like the zero waste and sustainability movement, right? And then those two things are really helping to like make people are like, yeah, we have no connection, we're all disconnected. Then the spirituality stuff, and then it always gets me as far as like why more spiritual circles don't promote unplugging, why people don't talk about like stop watching TV, stop watching. Actually, they do though. And more people are. I think more and more people are just intuitively unplugging from mainstream because they're just tired of it. They're tired of the incessant negativity, right? Ooh, I like it. I'm liking this conversation, you guys. Differentiate between consciousness and sentience. I'm gonna make a note about that, Kurt. And please do noodle over it. Yeah, right, Kurt? Like, it's like people are on it already. Like, people are unplugged from media. People are already wanting to, like, detach. Some of you, actually, one of you who bought Spirituality Simplified, I just got a message. She wouldn't be here because she's just like, all right, I'm signing off, taking a break. So I'm like, and that includes YouTube. She's like, I need to step away from all of it for a bit. And you're like, great, fantastic. John, pretty much the same, right? Hey, Michelle. Where is she? Hey, the partly normal Michelle. Aren't we all though? What did I want to do? I wanted to make a note because I think that is a fascinating point of topic because I have no idea. I have no idea how we'd root it out. What was it? Sentience versus consciousness. That's what I want to noodle. I think that's fascinating. I feel John or Andrew or somebody, I did briefly touch on that for John or Andrew, just not fully. So as per usual, you guys, just like message me if you want to talk about a certain topic. Interesting, Kurt Mill. Yeah. Same, Matthew, nothing. I think a lot of us are in. So, and this is like this is a piece to noodle with for me and my journey. It's like there is only the truth within you, and so there's a disparity and or conflict and or a perpetual patterning if we're looking for the truth outside of us. There is not that. The truth can only be a kind of feeling, like centeredness that allows us to be present with our own truth. We see it. We see whether it's true or not. We are that which we see, and so we must own that and then outwork it from within. So the only truth that one can be is the self. And then that reflects back. And I think we're all pretty honest, pretty truthful humans because we reflect back a lot of resonance here. We reflect back a lot of open feeling dialogue and communication, because I'm not trying to impress upon you a truth. I'm not trying to dominate and impress upon you any kind of system or modality or dogma of thinking. I'm just somebody who shares from her heart, which is more aligned, I would say, with a truth of my own being and a truth of my own knowing. But that's part of liberation. That's part of emancipation, is that we don't want teachers telling us what to do no more. We want to be free, right? Yeah, exactly, John. The truth is in you. Hey, Michelle. Nice to have you here. I haven't checked the other messages, FYI. I got distracted in the gosh darn Instagram. No, I don't think it's gonna happen, you guys. Anywho. So finally, this is what I want to share. There's this really cool candle, vegan candles and soaps by the looks of it. and these ladies make their products, and all the profits go to their animal sanctuary, which is really good, which is cool. And then this is what I posted on Insta, which I'm just gonna have to redo. This vegan, pardon me, and my nails are a little bit grimy. Like, ew. but I love you guys. So this guy, his stall was just, he's Italian. Riccardo. Italian, vegan, sweet tooth, London. Oh my god. Oh my god. Actually, I'll show you. I'll show you the picture of his cake stall, because you're just like, damn boy. Like, look at those. Can you guys see how good? Look at that cake. Oh, boom. Boom. I'm gonna post it on Insta, but like my mouth's kind of watering. I sort of wish. I'm like, why didn't I get more? Like, why did I only get 6 pieces? Why did I not get all 12? Anywho, that's the creativity of the vegan community, right? Wow, seriously, vegan fair in a place called Portishead in Somerset. It was only 2 hours away. And then this beautiful woman, I partly like bombarded her because she had a super cute style. But look at this, Kate. How beautiful is she? And look, her lovely little like headscarf. Anywho, she had, her business is called Tickety Boo. And I'll be featuring her. They're just like 2-minute, 3-minute little interviews asking them about their vegan journey, their vegan life. And what's interesting is that Tickety Boo, so Kate, she was in, or no, she's like a life similar to me actually. She like a really long time vegetarian, or been vegetarian for like 10 years. And then she ran a cake business. She made her cakes for a living, and she actually on the rise, like she said, like 3 years ago or something like that, as veganism was really rising, she actually did some kind of like market research, like practical market research, to see if people preferred and what sold better, and vegan cakes sold better. More people wanted the vegan cakes, which I obviously completely biased, but I can see why. I know why. It feels better, it tastes better, it's usually a little bit healthier and less dense on the body, right? Yeah, see? That's the thing, Kurt Milne. I'm the same. Right? I know, when you see that, this is what I mean when you're vegan and then it starts to get more popular and it starts to ramp up a bit. It's just super duper exciting because you get to try all these different things. And like a lot of times when it comes to food and cakes, I almost feel like, because it's an underbelly, and or what do I want to say? Because the vegan low waste, these are still fringe movements, right? These are still kind of outskirts of people not fitting into the dominant mainstream. And then, but what we're seeing is the vegan movement and the zero waste and all of this unplugged spiritual consciousness stuff is building momentum. It's becoming more popular. And so, yes, I feel you. It's super duper exciting. And it's nice to have more open-hearted conversations around all of this stuff where people don't just attack you and tell you you're retarded. Right? That's it. It's totally kind of connected. And I think as well, I have a lot of respect for like even non-vegans or non-vegetarians even, that are just not really cruel about it, or not really harsh about it, or just like open about, well, like I might still want fish, or I think I'd still want. And then yesterday was relevant, right? Because we had that little discussion about we had that discussion, I forget now, with Chance, with anyway, it doesn't matter. You see stuff and go, yuck, I don't want that. Yeah, I don't like, I think that's the thing about the empath, like coming in from the empathic vibrashe of all of these different things, which I guess would be a positive function for all to love, is just to be really easy about it. It's like, I've never been into making people feel bad about what they're eating. Because I got that from people, like, "Why aren't you eating?" and da 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 da, and, like, you wonder why so many of us have all these issues around food, because everyone has issues around food, and everybody's trying to be right, and you're just like, "Ah! I just wanna eat what I wanna eat, leave me alone," you know? And I think, yeah, and I think people depending on where you are and what kind of energy you're swinging in and out of, you can get that. You can get some angry. It's like angry vegans, but it's like angry feminists or fucking dickheady business people. This is the thing that's interesting about the 3D reality of how we compartmentalize things or label things or judge things. They're not necessarily true or accurate, but yet it's easy for us to fall into those categories and almost become that or look for that when we're making these changes because we've been so programmed to believe that exists, right? Um, and so I get that the kind of the angry vegans and or the really defensive and attacky meat eaters. It's all just that underlying kind of egoic threat that makes us reactive to anything that feels it could threaten our egoic identity, right? In this world. So, oh yeah, I've heard that as well, Rochelle. It doesn't say that we haven't incarnated as a dog or incarnated as a horse, but usually our health consciousness, yeah, usually our there is an like that's a movement upward, and so once we go up, we probably wouldn't go back to animalhood. Um, oh, huge, Kurt Mill. I remember noticing like a petrol company using like a yoga girl picture, and I'm like, weird. It's weird how like all the well-being stuff is kind of crossing over everywhere. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's huge, right? Oh yeah, and I think that's a big piece, and hopefully part of this sharing and sharing the awareness of this stuff is that we're returning to whole food. I don't buy fake stuff at all. Like the anything low fat or gluten free or any of that. I'm like gluten free maybe not as much, but like a lot of things are like rice is obviously natural gluten free. Corn based stuff is naturally gluten free. So it's like I don't know. I just listen to the body. I listen to the body and I encourage other people to listen to the body. At the same time, I also know that certain detox programs and stuff like that can be really useful if we're kind of locked into a pattern and finding it really difficult to break free from, say, drinking every night. Or maybe every day at 3 o'clock, you just naturally go get some sugar or some sweets. And like, we all have those certain things. And sometimes we need help or we need a little bit of assistance just to like, God, like uproot those those habits or whatever. I know Matthew Nothing. I've never seen it. I've always been such a kind of like outside viewer that I see the cliquey group consciousness thing and always the stereotypes. It's convenient for people because this stuff is quite maybe can be even just having these kind of conversations can trigger people's like what are you saying? Blah, 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 blah. Like I on occasion, not it's not like all the time, but I have had that sort of feedback experience. Usually when I know I'm meant to leave a place and I'm whatever for whatever reason holding on, but like people who just literally like, oh God, you're so fucking annoying, and I'm like, sorry. Like I'm just being myself and sharing. um and somebody just has like a hissy fit around me for their own reason, and again in the past, especially if they were like an authority, that would have put me in my place and shut me down and quiet me, like all of that. So anywho, you guys, I digress. Oh, Kurt Mill, yeah, I agree. I'm feeling that increasingly as well. Like it's like there's perpetual pain. It's like everyone is often in their pain body. They're already in a reactive kind of existence, right? And so that kind of hence what I'm noticing is just it's not like there's like I've arrived and da da da, but there is a perpetual unlearning, unfolding, which inside me feels more calm, centered, less like trying. It's just there's an ease and a flow, and that feels really authentic and true and real. And I can keep working with that because it's my own gift to myself, essentially, right? And then share that. But yeah, with that greater awareness and observation fully, I often just go back, I'll take certain videos down because I'm like, that's not a pure heart share, that's like me reacting to something or me da 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 da. And like I don't have like shame or guilt around it. I just feel like, yeah, that's maybe not the best frequency to put out there, you know? What's LOL, Rochelle? Oh, yeah, for some good old food, and that's it. You know, we have our creatures eat certain foods. Oreo's amazing. Oreo's a beautiful cat. Yeah, you've done good there. So, you guys, I think that's it for me today. I so love you and appreciate you. Feel free to check out the vegan course if you're interested in veganism or want a little bit of support, and or just want to support Alta Love. It's like super exciting to learn more about veganism and ultimately like endeavor it. Give her a go. Give veganism a go and see how it feels, and share the love. You can pre-order it now. Um, totally. And this is where I talk about Matthew Nothing. I talk about um holding space for triggers. That's basically the whole premise of the Fearless Life Guide. Instead of reacting against a trigger, blaming and attacking everything and everyone for how I feel, I have to sit with my anger and express it. Yeah, feel fucking anger. Feel the heat, feel the rage. And then feel what's underneath the anger. And then feel what's underneath that. Feel what's underneath that. I'm just somebody who, because I've always felt so much, I have gotten super duper used to just holding space for myself and letting myself feel all the many waves and all the many storms and all of the stuff that comes up. And so and because I've gotten good at holding space for my own emotions, I quite easily hold space for other, in a retreat setting or in various settings. Just hold space, let people be frustrated, let people be angry, let people feel the stuff that they need to feel so that they can work stuff out. Right. So yeah, yeah, it's like now the trigger is like a boom, a feedback, an interface resonance that's showing us like a distortion in our field. That's how I see it, feel it, heal it. Yeah, because the trigger can then we can use a trigger to go within and outwork a density which might be locked into actually an experience or an emotion or an energy that is very far removed from what we think is triggering us, if that makes sense. All right, you guys. So I'm really, really looking forward to seeing you again tomorrow morning. I'm really looking forward to sharing vegan love with you guys, and I am hoping to see you all soon. I just noticed like the purple heart, and then like I've got my purple top on, and it's gonna be a glorious day. Anger is valid. It's hate. I don't understand. Well, and this is the thing of like anger, and like especially in this country, people are like anger. Oh, you're feeling angry. You're not spiritual. I'm like, fuck you. Oh man, except not because I love you. I wouldn't even. I should mind my potty mouth, right? But anyway, you guys, I just love you so much, and I'm so happy that you're here. Yeah, and you guys know this, but I have infinite appreciation and love for you, and um like actually the majority of us are all chit-chatting and friends or internet friends, right? But I get to meet my internet friends, so I'm pretty stoked about this evolution and this community evolving, and all to love making the shift manifest for ourselves and for our brothers and sisters, right? So oh, you guys, I love you. Thanks, Rochelle. I do dip, as in like I'll try to work on my potty mouth, but I'll just be on floor, and like it would just be like, and then there you go. So I do my best. Have a super awesome day, my friends. I love you beyond. You're all awesome, and I look forward to speaking to you real soon. Peace out, guys. Take care.